Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Hearthstone. You may notice the audio is a little bit different. Turns out I've been doing it wrong for a long time. Probably all of 2016, honestly. Uh, just the sound effects a little too loud, my voice a little too low. And finally somebody bothers to come back and say, hey, look, I'm having trouble understanding you. The music, the sound effects are sometimes too loud. And so I was like, oh, well, let me check this. And I go back and check it, and it seems it was a little bit off. Not terribly off or anything, but hopefully this fixes it, makes my voice a little bit louder and easier to understand. See, we need a shaman, druid, and hunter, and warlock. And I could trade something here, but it would be a bad trade because going from a 60 to a 50 or 40 would be a mistake. And so I'm just going to leave everything where it is. We don't have any reason to do the 20th anniversary Tavern Brawl again. So let's start with the simplest ones. Play 50 Shaman cards, which shouldn't be too difficult of a quest. I'm back to playing on casual. Shaman, overload, that'll work. Let's begin here. Now, I don't know if I really have enough to talk about here for 3 recordings. This may very well be a 2 recording session. It seems like more and more that becomes the case. We're probably going to get past the 5,000 mark in gold unless we just fail to accomplish any of the goals today. I've been suffering quite a lot in the past week. My insomnia finally went just out of control, honestly. I guess finally is the wrong word there. It just has went out of control. And so I was waking up at, say, 2 in the afternoon, which isn't a terrible time for me. It's a terrible time in general, but not a terrible time for me. Then staying awake and being kind of half asleep and sluggish until, about 5 or 6 in the afternoon. And then I was taking a nap, falling asleep again. Maybe I would get 1 recording, 2 recordings done there. And then I would sleep for 4 hours, and then it would be 9 or 10 before I woke up again. And then sometimes I would start working at that point and stay up till like from 10 to 5 and maybe get 4 or 5 hours of recording there. But so you're barely getting 6 hours of recording at best, and often it was none. And then at 5 a.m. I'd go back to sleep and not wake up until 2 in the afternoon again. And so I was having these like short 12-hour sessions. Whenever you overload game 1 attack per crystal lock. There we go. Hopefully this works in my favor. Probably won't. So very ineffective. I've totally screwed up. Always Sometimes Monsters was the game I was playing, and it was a garbage game. I've run into a lot of those. And I didn't need to be recording it at all. I needed a AAA title for the 7 o'clock time slot. And instead I spent a whole week doing Always Sometimes Monsters. Now the only way to even use that or recover from that is to specifically put that in the 7 o'clock time slot. So that time slot now is going to be changed. Changed for that release. After that, I've been covering some really early learning edutainment games called Let's Explore, Let's Explore the Airport was one. Let's Explore the Farm. Let's Explore the Jungle. The jungle in particular is very odd. And then I did Big Thinkers Kindergarten, and I need to do Big Thinkers First Grade, and then I'll be done with that five days worth of let's see, 3. So this guy's gonna kill me next time. So each one of those early edutainment games, spotlights are very, very not my bag. Obviously, as an adult, I enjoyed them for as much as I could enjoy them, but that's not much there really. I found the Big Thinkers Kindergarten in particular super annoying, and so I was saying, parents, put this in front of your kids at your own risk, because you're going to potentially regret it. But an epidemic has started showing its head of kids these days not understanding what a mouse is at all. So it's become more and more important nowadays to as a parent, put your kid in front of a regular old-fashioned computer with a mouse and have them play at least a few games. But these games are 20 years old, but they still mostly stand up to the weight of time, because A is for Apple hasn't changed in probably 200 years, and 2 plus 2 hasn't changed ever. 2 plus 2 always equals 4, unless it equals fish. But yeah, I'm certainly not going to go super long covering kid-friendly games like that. I think I'll probably jump back into covering Lego Indiana Jones games, because I simply can't wait till 2019 when that Indiana Jones movie is supposed to come out. I seriously doubt it's going to happen at this rate. There's a decent chance, but probably don't want to say it, but if Carrie Fisher was doing cocaine and probably increased her likelihood of dying when she did, it's probably not beyond the realm to say that Harrison Ford is going to be unavailable in some aspect for the next Indiana Jones movie. And the next Indiana Jones movie, by the way, is probably not going to be good anyways. The last one wasn't good. So holding back for that makes no sense. Carrie Fisher's death also makes me slightly reevaluate whether I'm going to try to cover like a bunch of Star Wars games in May. Probably still want to do it. I have a lot of them, so it makes some sense. But there's a slight concern there. He's played the, what is this one? Fel Reaver that burns 3 cards for every card I play. But I think I may win here, which is good. It doesn't really matter. I've accomplished my goals so far as much as possible by playing Shaman cards. I, a couple weeks ago, watched a video that was covering, I guess, new products, new IP as they call it, versions of games that aren't sequels is what I mean, in 2017, and there was only like 17 of them, and it wasn't clearly labeled as that, so it didn't feel great. I definitely had this feeling that it felt like 2017 may have some great new ideas for games, but as far as my strategy of playing prequels to games that have sequels coming out, it was going to be a really bad year for me, and it's still probably not going to be the greatest year for that, but that's fine. I've got plenty of other games to cover, and if I can just get the work done, let's face it, there's plenty of games I can play. Do I want to kill this guy for no reason? Nope. So I'm just gonna end the turn. What does this guy do? At the end, restore 1 health to all friendly minions. I didn't realize that's what he did. Interesting. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've looked at some of these cards, and I've forgotten what. I need to get back to Skyrim too, and that's gonna be an issue certainly. But I saw this new video that has like 72 games that are supposed to come out in 2017. Being in the video game industry, you never really know. That's definitely the case. But let's see if I can just survive like a couple more turns, like, and play a couple things. But I think he's got me. Yeah, 14, 20, 28. Yeah, he managed to succeed there. Interesting. So I'm not gonna bother to try and remember and list off all of the games, and some of them are definitely new IP games, like the Detroit game, which if that comes to PC might be interesting, but I don't even know. There's definitely also of the 72 or 74 games I saw, how many of them really are going to come to PC? Do I lose 20 of those 72 immediately, and then it's only 52? Do I then lose another 20 because they're bad PC ports? Then that leaves you down to 32 games. Even if that was the case, though, that's not terrible. That's 12, 24, 36. It's almost 3 games a month, which we'll probably lose some more. Also, in just being delayed. So it feels like 2017 might be a lot better game. One game that did catch my eye was that a piece of DLC for Uncharted was coming out, starring a girl from the series, which I haven't been able to play the Uncharted series, so I'm not really up or familiar with any of the characters, but I know she's an important character, and it may not have Drake in it at all. Well, actually it's starring 2 girls from the series, I think. So I kind of wonder if maybe the Uncharted series will continue on without Drake. I wouldn't be super surprising, and that might work really well. Turn another character from being male to female, although let's face it, Uncharted has been called the male version of Tomb Raider, so if they make a female version, then they are just completely stealing from Tomb Raider, aren't they? Let's see, do I want to play this? Draw 2 cards. I guess I have to play this. Job done. In the turn. So yeah, I guess that would be fine. I guess we could certainly use a few more games that are more like Tomb Raiders, particularly if you move away from just generic zombie shooters and such. If you put a little bit more action in it, fine if the core is still third-person shooting and running and gunning, but if you help a little bit, that would probably be nice. Let's see. 3 to 2 random enemies. Or do this. There we go. So we've got 2 guys that are going to power up via what is it called? Overloading. Let's do this. There we go. In the turn. And I think I may have a quick victory here. That's gonna be nice. Nice to get a victory even when you don't need it. So I guess technically I'm gonna have to just stretch the game out some more. Let's see. Draw 2 cards. 1. Game 1 for 10. Let's go ahead and draw 2 cards. Deal 3 damage. Maybe I should have done that to the face, actually. Do this. So let's start going down our list here. Skyrim Script Extender has a March beta release date now for a special edition, and this is a mod that's been used by a lot of the other mods in Skyrim Original. So because of that, there's, let's see, kill this one. This and this. And we'll leave them down at 1 and then the turn. So there's some slight hope now for the Skyrim Special Edition that more of the mods that have been left only for the original version might make their way over to the new version. It would certainly help if the entire modding community went over to the special edition, and then after getting over this initial period of just trying to get all of the old ones running on the new version, that they could start thinking about making the new ones. Let's see, this one I guess doesn't matter in the turn. In the end, I don't think I have time to play Skyrim much more. I'm gonna definitely still have a ton of work to do, and this prolonged break I've accidentally taken might actually help a little bit, but it probably isn't going to help as much as I think. I think after I do the DLC, after I finish the main story, then do the DLC, I think that's going to be the end of it for that series. Frankly, it's going to go for 6 months plus, and I think that's more than enough. I'm sure there's people out there that will will disagree and want more, but I just don't think I can satisfy that audience. I don't think I can sit there and try and play the game forever. I've got too many other games I'd like to play. And while I didn't get a massive amount of games for the winter sale, I still have plenty of other games, so yeah, a lot of games to play. It's a shame when you go and play something like Always Sometimes Monsters, though, and you thought it was good, and it turns out to not be good. Or when you try to play a game and it's just so old it doesn't run, and there's no fixing it. The next thing that we have on the news is Steam passed 14 million users at the same time, concurrent users, on January 7th. So that's a new high mark for them. Now,
what to do?
It is
runs out on me.
Probably more users than we've had on any of the other services. I wouldn't be surprised if I bothered to do the research that the number of concurrent users on an Xbox service or on a PlayStation service has been considerably less for their high marks. But it's also kind of hard to tell because they may not release that information, or the information may get released and it's just obfuscated. There is also, I suppose, an argument that can be made as far as how many Xbox users aren't plugged into the internet. So if you said Xbox or PlayStation both had an extra million or two users that weren't plugged into the internet, that's a possibility. There's a lot of people on bases that like to play video games, and that's certainly why the always online thing didn't work for when they proposed that idea. Let's see, deal 5 damage. Let's see, should I kill this guy? I don't see a reason to, actually. I'm just gonna end the turn. Now, if you compare the 14 million versus the 7 billion people on the planet, if you say that only 10% of the 7 billion people on the planet have access to the internet and Steam, you're at 700 million right there. If you cut that in half, again, let's say that half of them don't play video games, you have 350 million. If you then say 10% of the people that don't care about video games would want to play it on PC, you're down to 35 million. It's still a lot of mental gymnastics to say that this number is specifically the best possible number you could ever think of, because it actually isn't the case. 14 million is certainly plausible, but you have to probably cut the population down to 20-year-olds to 50-year-olds that play games, and then you have to cut it in a third for PC gamers, or maybe a fourth if you include like Nintendo consoles and cell phone mobile games and all of that. There's just a massive amount of extra things you would have to do to get the 14 million to make sense compared to the total number of people on the planet.
Is
but
my shield.
it's that's kind of also an unrealistic way of calculating it. I'm sure Coca-Cola doesn't say, why aren't we selling 7 billion? Why don't we have 7 billion customers at the Coca-Cola plants? Because in theory you could. Let's see. This guy has 11 more cards and I have 8 more cards, so it just behooves me to keep playing this. The Steam beta is going to add customization for Xbox controllers and X input devices, which pretty much means then at that point there's customization, I think, for everything. Because you'll have customization for the PlayStation 4, and you'll have customization for the Xbox controllers, and everything else comes in through X input. I mean, in the old days, you would have other kinds of joysticks, but they certainly wouldn't work today. That kind of legacy hardware. It would be a joke to try to run some of that. Although, maybe some flight simulator people out there are doing something like that. There's not going to be any season pass for Mass Effect Andromeda. This is amazingly great news. More and more season passes are getting dumped on, deservedly so. This is going to be our last game too. We're going to spend so much time here just trying to get the quest done. So, Deus Ex Mankind Divided's pre-order bonuses, which is another bad habit of the video game industry. All the pre-order bonuses are now free to everybody. So we kind of knew that the people who made Deus Ex versus the people who were in charge did not agree on the pre-order stuff. So in the end, I think the people who made Deus Ex Mankind Divided have won and fixed that issue.
For Blackwing.
And let's see, I'm about a third of the way down the list, so I'm not going to start another thing. I'm just going to kind of play in silence here for 4 more turns. They finally managed to kill my guy. Interesting. Of course, 6 more cards for him, 4 more cards for me. Could he turn this around and really do 30 damage? Not really. Let's do this.
I can see what is to come. Tide rises.
Yeah, I'd love to see season passes go away. But I am not holding my breath because we've actively seen in purchasing decisions just a couple weeks ago that season passes are a great gimmick to keep the price of a game up to $60 if you want all those things. But it might be part of a bigger issue where they have decided that they're going to stop trying to shove multiplayer in games that don't need multiplayer. And Mass Effect Andromeda in particular is probably not a game that is going to have multiplayer. And I don't know if I can really justify playing Mass Effect. If I play Mass Effect Andromeda, it pretty much puts the nail in the coffin as far as Fallout 4. There's no way I'm gonna play 3 RPGs in any recent amount of time, and I think that's fine, really. Fallout 3, Fallout 4. Maybe we'll play Fallout New Vegas, but just because that one's uniquely different. That's my last card. So let's say well played. and kill. And I got a bunch of experience for that. And all that work, and we still haven't done it. We're going to have to play 6 more Shaman cards in the next recording. Man, that is a lot of Shaman cards to have to play just to get 60 gold. They've kind of made these feel a little more difficult than they should. Anywho, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to support me further, go to my main YouTube page. On the right there's a button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. And if you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.